Consider the following signs of the states of society, which are necessary from time to time, and which are designated with the word corruption. As soon as corruption sets in anywhere, superstition becomes rank, and the previous common faith of a people becomes pale and powerless against it. For superstition is second-order free spirit. Those who surrender to it choose certain forms and formulas that they find congenial and permit themselves some freedom of choice. Whoever is superstitious is always, compared with the religious human being, much more of a person. And a superstitious society is one in which there are many individuals and much delight in individuality. In this perspective, superstition always appears as progress and as a sign that the intellect is becoming more independent and demands its rights. Those who then complain of corruption are the adherents of the old religion and religiosity, and they have also determined linguistic usage hitherto and given superstition a bad reputation, even among the freest spirits. Let us realize that it is actually a symptom of enlightenment. Second, a society in which corruption spreads is accused of exhaustion, and it is obvious that the esteem for war and the pleasure in war diminish, while the comforts of life are now desired just as ardently as warlike and athletic honors were formerly. But what is generally overlooked is that the ancient national energy and national passion that became gloriously visible in war and warlike games have now been transmuted into countless private passions and have merely become less visible. Indeed, in times of corruption, the power and force of the national energies that are expended are probably greater than ever, and the individual squanders them as lavishly as he could not have formerly, when he was simply not yet rich enough. Thus, it is precisely in times of exhaustion that tragedy runs through houses and streets, that great love and great hatred are born, and that the flame of knowledge flares up into the sky. Third, it is usually said, as if one wanted to make up for the reproaches of superstition and exhaustion, that such times of corruption are gentler, and that the cruelty declines drastically, compared with the older, stronger age that was more given to faith. But this praise I cannot accept any more than those reproaches. All I concede is that cruelty now becomes more refined, and that its older forms henceforth offend the new taste. But the art of wounding and torturing others with words and looks reaches its supreme development in times of corruption. It is only now that malice and the delight in malice are born. The men of corruption are witty and slanderous. They know of types of murder that require neither daggers nor assault. They also know that whatever is said well is believed. Fourth, when morals decay, those men emerge whom one calls tyrants. They are the precursors and, as it were, the precocious harbingers of individuals. Only a little while later, this fruit of fruits hangs yellow and mellow on the tree of a people, and the tree existed only for the sake of these fruits. Once decay has reached its climax, along with the infighting of all sorts of tyrants, the Caesar always appears, the final tyrant who puts an end to the weary struggle for sole rule, by putting weariness to work for himself. In his age, the individual is usually ripest, and culture therefore in its highest and most fruitful stage, but not for his sake or on account of him, although the men of the highest culture like to flatter their Caesar by pretending to be his creation. But in truth, they merely need peace from outside because they have enough unrest and work inside themselves. In these ages, bribery and treason reach their peak, for the love of the newly discovered ego is much more powerful now than the love of the old, used-up fatherland, which has been touted to death. And the need to achieve some security from the terrifying ups and downs of fortune opens even nobler hands as soon as anyone who is powerful and rich shows that he is ready to pour gold into them. There is hardly any secure future left. One lives for today, and this state of the soul makes the game easy for all seducers, for one allows himself to be seduced and bribed only for today, while reserving the future and one's virtue. Individuals, beings truly in and for themselves, care, as is well known, more for the moment than do their opposites, the hard men, for they consider themselves no less incalculable for the future. They also like to attach themselves to violent men because they credit themselves with the capacity for actions and for information that the mess of men would neither understand nor forgive, while the tyrant or Caesar understands the rights of the individual even in his excesses, and he has a personal interest in advocating and even abetting a bolder private morality. For he thinks of himself and would like others to think of him in the way Napoleon once expressed in his classical manner: I have the right to answer all accusations against me with an eternal, "That's me." I am apart from all the world and accept conditions from nobody. I demand subjection even to my fancies, and people should find it quite natural when I yield to this or that distraction. That is how Napoleon once replied to his wife when she had reasons to question the marital fidelity of her husband. The times of corruption are those when the apples fall from the tree. I mean the individuals, for they carry the seeds of the future and are the authors of the spiritual colonization and origin of new states and communities. Corruption is merely a nasty word for the autumn of a people.